This is a film which I have to talk about, and this is a film which I've been waiting for many months. Why? Because it's literally about a ballerina vampire. So you have a group of criminals, Melissa Barrera is leading them, and they just finished up a job, and that job is kidnapping a young girl, and that young girl turns out to be a vampire ballerina, or ballerina vampire, or whichever way you want to go about it. But this is the kicker. Giancarlo Esposito, one of the main bad guys, tells them all to stay in the mansion and to hand over their phones while he goes and gives some ransom demands to the father, which automatically, if I was the bad guy, I'd be like, nah, you know what, take my money, I'm gone. It's weird, I don't want to stay in a haunted mansion, I got better things to do. And the thing is, this is a film directed by Radio Silence. The directors of Ready or Not came up with a great concept, this concept which I thought was weird at first, but it worked out really well. And if you watch Ready or Not, this is almost similar settings in terms of a mansion, not even a haunted mansion, a big eerie mansion with a lot of trapdoors, a lot of passages, and it just has a weird feeling about it. I will say this, every single person in this film had their own sort of backstory, and they're all memorable in a certain way. A lot of the movies that you see which you have an ensemble cast and they have a couple of minutes of screen time, you may think to yourself, oh, I remember this character, but I don't remember why they're in this film. But in this film, every character had served a purpose. They all worked well with each other, they gelled, the chemistry was there, and they weren't cliched. And what kind of heist movie slash horror movie is there when you don't have any tension amongst the crew? And that's what you had. The first act, I would say, the first 40 minutes to 45 minutes of the film, it's all about the characters themselves. It's all about understanding who they are. And I think it makes it very important for you to have a bit of a connection to these characters. Because if you don't, what is the point of watching this movie? But at the same time, I would want to watch a movie which just shows them getting, you know, ripped apart left, right, and centre. And I think it'll go across the board for anyone who watches this movie. Alicia Ria, she did a great job playing that innocent girl and showing the fear of being kidnapped, but then when she turns into the vampire, you're like, crap, whoa, okay, she knows how to pull this off. The mixture of innocence and malevolence is just perfect. I will say this though, one of my favourite characters was Dan Stevens. He just added a depth to the chaotic atmosphere, and as I said before as well, a secluded mansion worked perfect, and it's almost as if Radio Silence just loved that sort of setting. It had the ability to balance both horror and comedy, which is difficult because you don't know which way the film is going to go, but Radio Silence have proved once again that they know exactly how to combat that issue. They created an entertaining and thrilling experience. The one thing I did like about Abigail is that it kept me engaged with this fast-paced action, and they had a clever script as well. But I do respect the fact that they have subverted the typical vampire tropes that you have seen in previous films and made it their own. They added a bit of an element of surprise to the narrative. With films like this, you usually have a lesser evil. You will have two evils, but you will always have a lesser evil that you want to root for. So in this case, you got a bunch of criminals. They have kidnapped a girl. When you first watch the trailer, you're like, okay, bad guys, criminals, they have kidnapped a girl. Why are we rooting for them? But then you realize there is a worse evil in the house, i.e. Abigail, and you're thinking, wait, hang on, who am I supposed to root for? Am I supposed to root for the bad guys who just kidnapped the girl, or do I root for the girl who's trying to kill the bad guys? It's like switching your moral compass around. But yeah, to round it up, the film itself, it worked really well. The characters were engaging, the narrative was strong, the script was clever, the tropes were subverted. It had everything that you would want from a film from this stature. And if you watch the film, you'd realize the ending had more humanity than you would have expected, but that is something which I'm happy to receive. Overall, Abigail is a successful reinvention of the vampire movies. It offered a fun, bloody ride that is both self-aware and haunting, and it will definitely be a hit if you are a fan of horror movies but you do not want to take it too seriously. But it delivers with solid entertainment and horror factors. So have you seen Abigail? What did you think? Were you expecting the film to be exactly what you thought it'd be when you watched the trailer, or is it something which is not your cup of tea? Let me know in the comments.